Welcome back. Today, we've got a really fascinating linguistic puzzle to solve on this explainer. We're diving into the beautiful Portuguese language, and specifically, we're looking at a pretty quirky and honestly incredibly fun aspect of it, words with double meanings. If you love discovering how different languages structure the world, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to look at 5 everyday Portuguese words that hold completely different meanings, depending entirely on how and where you use them.
Okay, let's dive into this with a question that honestly sounds like a bizarre riddle. Can you wear a mango? I know, it sounds totally absurd. But in Portuguese, this question actually makes a lot of sense. It perfectly teases the kind of duality we're about to explore.
Right, so to understand how you might wear a mango, we really have to talk about the power of context. In Portuguese, context is literally the ultimate key to unlocking meaning. You can't just look at a word in isolation. You have to look at the words around it, the situation, the intent of the speaker. Basically, a lot of common, everyday words have entirely different definitions based on the situation they're dropped into. It definitely keeps you on your toes.
Round 1. Food or fashion? Ask yourself, are you feeling hungry or are you getting dressed? This brings us right to our very first vocabulary word, which literally bridges the gap between your kitchen counter and your closet.
And here's the word, manga. It has 2 highly contrasting English translations. Number 1, a mango, and number 2, a sleeve. So one simple 5-letter word, but 2 completely unrelated visuals.
Let's actually see this in action. Imagine it's a warm summer day, someone hands you a plate of fresh, juicy fruit, and you say, "Eu adoro manga! I love mango." When you hear it with that kind of excitement, surrounded by food, your brain immediately goes to the delicious tropical treat.
But what if your day isn't going quite so well? Say you catch your shirt on a sharp door handle. You look down and you sigh, "A manga da minha camisa está rasgada." The sleeve of my shirt is torn. You can kind of hear the whiplash in the meaning right there. Obviously, no one is talking about a torn piece of fruit. The context instantly shifts the word manga to mean the fabric covering your arm.
Moving on to our next word, which actually keeps us slightly in the culinary world, but throws in a really unexpected geometric twist. The word is torta. The first definition is pie. Just settle into that warm, comforting thought for a second. Okay, now consider the second definition, crooked or slanted. So, a pastry or something that just isn't quite straight.
And this brilliantly illustrates the contrast, because in a baking scenario, you'd hear, "Vamos fazer uma torta de maçã." Let's make an apple pie. Sounds lovely, right? But say you're in an art gallery, you might hear, "Aquela pintura está meio torta." That painting is a little crooked. You definitely aren't saying the painting is made of pastry, you're saying it's leaning.
Section 2. Money and furniture. We're moving away from food now and entering the realm of money, personal items, and physical spaces where you sit. Notice how these next words shift from things you carry around to actual environments you inhabit. Our third word is carteira, and this word pulls serious double duty, jumping from something small you carry in your back pocket to a substantial piece of furniture in a classroom. Definition 1 is a wallet. Definition 2 is a school desk.
Let's see how context forces our brain to choose here. Minha carteira está cheia de moedas. My wallet is full of coins. You can almost feel that heavy, jangling weight of pocket change, right? Now, pause and compare it to this. Ele sentou na última carteira da sala. He sat at the last desk in the room. Obviously, you can't sit on a small leather pouch full of coins. The context of the room immediately tells us we're talking about a school desk.
Now, before I show you the next word, I want you to think about this scenario. Are you depositing money or are you taking a rest? That's a huge difference in activity, right? I mean, one is an errand, the other is leisure. Well, in Portuguese, the exact same noun is at the center of both of those activities.
Here it is, banco. Setting up the ultimate expectation versus reality twist. Banco can mean bank, as in, the financial institution, or it can mean bench, like one you'd find outside. So if you're running errands and feeling super industrious, you might say, "Vou ao banco pagar minhas contas." I'm going to the bank to pay my bills. That action of paying bills firmly anchors the word banco directly to the financial institution. But what happens when those errands are done? You might take a stroll, find a nice quiet spot, and say, "Sentamos no banco do parque." We sat on the bench at the park. You're just relaxing on a piece of wood or iron under a tree. So the crucial point is that the environment, a park versus paying bills, literally changes everything about the word banco.
Round 3. Arts and Hollywood.
Let's transition from those mundane, everyday scenarios, like paying bills and carrying change, straight into the glitz and glamour of entertainment and the arts.
Our final word is papel, and this word just beautifully contrasts the ordinary with the extraordinary. Definition 1 is simply paper. But definition 2 is a role, as in an acting part in a play, a television show, or a film.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the vast difference in excitement between these two contexts. In a boring, mundane office scenario, you'd hear, "Preciso de papel para imprimir o documento." I need paper to print the document. Pure utility. But shift the context to a huge career milestone. Ele conseguiu o papel principal no filme. He got the lead role in the movie. It's the exact same word, but vastly different stakes.
All right, wrapping up, we've covered a lot of ground today, transitioning all the way from tropical fruit to Hollywood film sets. Let's solidify these fun linguistic quirks so you can actually remember them long after this explainer is over.
Let's review our context clues with a super quick recap. Because learning these dual meanings isn't just about memorizing a dictionary, right? It's actually a wonderfully fun part of training your brain to rely on context clues. Let's see how many of these stuck with you. First, we started with manga, which reminds us that nope, we can't wear a mango, but we definitely can tear a sleeve. Then we had carteira, where we keep our money, or where we sit at school. Torta showed us that a pie is delicious, but a crooked painting is super annoying. Banco proved you can pay your bills at a bank or just relax on a park bench. And finally, papel, which you can load into a printer or play out on the big screen as a starring role.
Isn't it fun to learn these words with double meanings? It is genuinely so cool to explore these hidden layers inside a language. It completely changes how you listen to a conversation. So I'll leave you with this. What mundane words in your own language are secretly hiding double lives? Keep your ears open, pay attention to the context around you, and hey, be sure to follow us for more deep dives into fascinating topics just like this one.